Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 8 of the Stage Racing Podcast. Tonight, we are talking all things Homestead and looking forward to this week's race at the home track of Martinsville. Stay tuned. All right, Cody, let's jump right in it because technology is not being our friend tonight, and we'll see what happens. I also don't know if I even have our script here, so I'm going to have to pull it up on my email, and so I'll be looking back and forth if you're watching this on YouTube, and for that I do apologize. But anyways, let's get it started. I'm going to do my last hero card for the season, unless I get some more this coming weekend, but we're going with the classic right here, man. Bill Elliott, and it's signed. It is signed. So this is from, I don't even know what year. I don't even think it has the year on here. I'm seeing a copyright of 1999, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Anyways, yeah, that's a good one, man. Awesome Bill from...
Awesome,
there we go.
baby.
Just making sure you're paying attention this morning, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, man, how are you? Doing good?
Yeah, man. Feeling good, doing good. We're getting it done a little later in the week than both of us I know would like, but, as we always talk about, life gets in the way, so appreciate everyone sticking around and hoping to give us a listen.
And I'm going to be honest, like last week's the race was pretty good, but I just wasn't, I don't know, probably because we're in that, it was almost Martinsville week, right? And then you and I and some other friends are going on a golf trip the weekend after that. We had March Madness going on. It was just a weird feel for me for races. I don't know how it was for you, but that's kind of how I was feeling with it.
Yeah, I did manage to watch the whole race on Sunday. Can't believe the wife actually, she's kind of getting tuned in now because Martinsville's right around the corner. So, so that was real nice. I got to watch all the race actually.
Good.
So.
Good. Yeah, I watched most of it. Honestly, I didn't miss as much as I thought I would. Yeah. So let's jump in. Stage 1 here. First things first. Kyle Larson dominates the truck race. Kyle Larson almost pulled a vintage Kyle Busch this weekend and swept the whole thing. I personally didn't get to watch any of the truck race Friday night. Was out and about with some friends. Shout out to Ben. And took our wives out to Topgolf a little night on the town. And so I didn't get to watch any of the truck race. Were you able to tune in at all? I do know Kyle Larson just did Kyle Larson things.
Yeah, I caught a little bit of it there near the end. Like you said, Kyle Larson just doing Kyle Larson things. He was super aggressive at the end. He wasn't gonna be denied. And so, I think he went into this weekend wanting to sweep it. I think that was the clear goal for him. And like you said, he almost did.
I think the best thing out of the truck race was all of those Spire trucks were sponsored by HendrickCars.com, and they recreated the Spider-Man meme where they're pointing at each other.
Yeah,
that was probably the best part of the whole thing. Xfinity race, here he goes dominating again. Before that final caution came out, I think he was up 16 seconds on the field or something like that. Final caution comes out, he gets absolutely hammered in the rear. And Justin Allgaier goes on to win. I think it's back-to-back for Allgaier, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
and so big-time dub for Junior Motorsports on a day when it wasn't looking so promising for him.
No, once again, Kyle had the car to beat. It seems to be when that guy finds a track that he really likes, he's going to go out and dominate. And usually when he wins, he dominates.
Yeah.
So once again, he was right there. It was for the taking, but unfortunately was denied by one of those late race NASCAR lovely cautions.
Yeah, you gotta love it. Well, let's slide it on over to the Cup race, and I know it seems like we're moving quick, folks, but we're going to get to some stuff a little bit later. The back end of this pod is going to be pretty heavy, I believe, especially after the experience you had today and experience I had. We'll get to that. But Larson wins the Cup race again, first win of the year, and passes his teammate Alex Bowman there, and nothing that Larson did anything wrong. He had the better car there toward the end. It's crazy to me. He was driving so well, and he had that big old dent in the driver's side door from where he got hit on pit road. The dude just, God, man, it's reminiscent of me how he can rip the fence at tracks like Homestead in Kansas. It's very reminiscent to me of how Kevin Harvick used to do at Atlanta back in the day. I don't know if it's the same for you or not.
For me, it's Kyle Busch.
Yeah.
I can't remember which championship year it was, but one of those championship years, I felt like every time Kyle Busch hit the wall, I'd always be like, well, every time he hits the wall, he gets faster.
Mm-hmm.
and it was very reminiscent of that. That's what I was thinking about this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, he's on a whole nother level. I mean, he can literally drive it like no one else can. It's impressive, honestly. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
I mean, look, people consider him one of the best drivers in all of motorsports, and there's a reason for that. And he just showed it again this weekend. He loves Homestead for sure.
I thought it was funny. You look at the right side of the car at the end of the race. That right rear fender well was just all scraped down to the sheet metal, and then you talk about the driver's side door beat in. It was just like both sides beat in, scraped up, and here he is in victory lane. You would have thought that car would have had a race at Martinsville.
Yeah, you would have, and then he burns it down a little too much. You know how I am with them Hendrick cars and how they like to celebrate to avoid that post race. I'm just kidding. Yeah, good race. I mean, honestly, it was a good strategy race. We saw Larson and Hamlin going long early in that. That seemed to pay off for him. You definitely could see that tires played a factor in this. They proved that. And it made for an exciting finish. I was seeing tweets and stuff throughout the race like, this is boring. There's a reason we don't do the championship here. I'm like, what are y'all watching? Because, I mean, we're not watching the same thing.
Just trying to record a podcast, man. And this is what we get. So sorry, guys. I know if you're watching, it got all switched around. Hopefully this works. It just doesn't want to record us tonight for whatever reason. So, as you were saying, MRN probably made this way more exciting than Fox did. So go ahead. Hopefully you don't get interrupted this time.
Yeah. So, but no, I think you're right about all the tweets online about it being boring. Like you said, they were probably watching the Fox broadcast, but I mean, yeah, anytime, you put that on mute, listen to the radio broadcast, it's going to be a million times better. So, like I said, I thought it was great racing all around. I thought the strategy was really nice to play into the whole, fun factor of the race. And a lot of drivers were having to really think about what they wanted to do. Denny especially, when he would kind of pit a little bit later and, he'd have 6 or 7 fresher lap tires. That's when you would really see him start to make those runs. And that's how, he got up to where he was, in contention at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was good. It was a good race. I really did enjoy it, for sure. Good Homestead race. Still think championship should be there if we're just going to do it at one track, either there or Vegas. We've talked about that in a previous pod. Go check it out. Let's move on to stage 2 here, Cody. Why? Like, I swear every race we've watched this year, there's been pit road issues at some point. What gives? And now we head to the narrowest pit road on the circuit this coming week. What the heck is going on, man?
I don't know. We've had, last week or the week before last, it was, loose tires and all sorts of stuff like, pit crew issues. This week, it was a lot of, for me, it felt like it was a lot of driver issues, drivers trying to pull out of pit boxes, clanging and banging on pit roads. So I don't know if it's just the guys trying to hustle to try to get that, that extra position. I know that, shoot, I saw the highlight of Ryan Preece's crew. I think they had a sub 9-second pit stop, this week. So let's be honest. The crews are gotten faster. So I think it's just, it's super competitive. And I think all these drivers are really aggressive on pit road. And I would like to see NASCAR kind of reel some of that in a little bit because it is a big safety concern for a lot of the guys on pit road, the crews and stuff. You look at Joey Logano and I think it was Chase Briscoe. They both had to pit backwards. So when they got turned around, they ended up making a legal pit stop facing the other way. But yeah, it was a brutal weekend on pit road.
Yeah, I think the more I think about it, is these teams are just so close and the pit crews are so good that disparity between them is just virtually non-existent. It's hundreds of tenths of seconds, and that just gets them so much closer. And this is what happens when you only put one lug on there and not multiple like we used to have. But
I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say it because I'm a boomer when it comes to that. So the other thing is too is the spacing coming into pit road. So many guys are bumper to bumper trying to get that next advantage of getting to that pit box, just a split second. Because it's the race to the line, and so I think it's just a kamikaze of things, like you said, and so I don't know what the fix is. I hope we don't start to consistently see this. I do expect to see it this week.
we say that, and then this weekend it'll be like cleanest day on pit row. Um, Unfortunately, where we're sitting this weekend, we'll get to see great exits of pit road. We won't actually get to see the pits themselves, but um, yeah, I think it's just it's something to monitor as we move forward. But I'm with you. I don't think it's going to be consistent. I think it's just one of those weird things so far to start the season.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's move it along, man. Ryan Blaney blows up once again. That's now twice in the last three races. And since it's twice in the last three races, I have to ask, is this a Penske issue or is this a Blaney issue? I mean, obviously Duke can
So
drive. He's a champion, right? And like,
yeah,
but it's like he had the fastest car for the last 3 weeks, and he's blown up in two of them. Like something's going on.
I mean it's not like the traditional days where, if one team car blows up, you're sitting there crossing your fingers that your engine don't blow up. Now, granted, this
Mm-hmm.
was near the end of the race, but we still haven't seen, Joey, he hasn't blown a motor yet this
Cindric
year.
just
Cindric
go in
hasn't
and
blown
throw
a
in
motor.
Barry as a fourth car, even
Yeah,
though
I mean,
he's with brothers.
no one else has blown a motor. I mean, I don't even know if another manufacturer's blown a motor yet this year. It might be one or two, but it's been very few. And let's be honest, very few manufacturers blow motors anymore like they used to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well, and they're not
but
running that much horsepower. It's a little easier to.
that's true. That's true. We digress again. So, but yeah, honestly, man, I think the dude's just running, excuse my language, but running the dog piss out of him. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, he's finding something. He's finding a way to push it to a limit that no one else is, and that's probably why he's seemingly faster than a lot of people have been in the last few weeks. But there's some give and some take, and so far he's doing a whole lot of take, and the car's not giving much except a blown engine.
yeah, he's been really aggressive too, and I wonder now that if he's not starting to push a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and because he's been fast all year, he's been up there in the front for wins basically all year. You know, we're 6, 7 races into this now. Is he starting to really feel like, okay, granted there's a whole season, but yeah, I think he's
Yeah,
probably starting to feel like I got to go out here and get this win because if I ain't winning these last couple that I've been leading in, what's he gonna do?
yeah, I'm with you. No need to panic. I mean, he's rolling in this weekend to a track that he's had a lot of success at. No need to panic. But I will say this: if he blows up this week, I got a lot of questions.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
lot of questions.
I think him
Um,
and his engineer are having some conversations this week.
I'm sure those conversations have already been had. So.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I noticed this past week, Chase Briscoe finally had a really good race. I think it's the
Hmm.
first really good race he's had since he's come to JGR. So kudos to him. But it seems that beyond Christopher Bell's little streak he had, JGR still seems to be missing a little bit of speed. We talked about in the first week how fast those Toyotas were and how good they looked, and then all of a sudden it's like something's missing. Um,
Hmm.
Especially when you're seeing 2311 consistently run up toward the front with 2 out of the 3. You'll give Herbst a pass as a rookie, but reason to panic for JGR yet, or you think it's something they'll figure out?
I think they'll figure it out. I mean, look at Ford at the beginning of last year; they didn't have anything. I think it's something that Toyota is going to throw. They're going to figure it out. I think you
Maybe that's
know
how Denny finally wins his first championship. He just pulls a Logano, just kind of sucks all year, backs into the backs into the playoffs.
hey, you know what
That would be the funniest thing ever.
especially for that guy because
Yes,
he's a proponent of wanting to change it too, and
exactly.
so it'll be hilarious. But yeah, I think they'll find it. To answer your question, I think they'll be there at the end. I mean, I still think Briscoe's going to get a win. We know Denny's going to get a win somewhere.
Hmm.
And I mean, the races he's run good and he's had really good strategy just because he's been doing it for so long. So
Hmm.
he's going to either back into a win or he's going to go get one. So
Hmm. Don't let it come down to tires. If it comes down to tires, I still say he's the man to beat.
I would
Um,
agree.
what was announced earlier this week? Austin Hill will do 5 races in Cup this year for RCR. Is this just something RCR's experimenting with, or do you think KB's on the move after this year? KB, of
I
course, being
definitely
Kyle Busch, for those who aren't connecting the dots.
I definitely think it's an experiment, 100%, no questions asked. he's been running really well in the Xfinity Series for quite some time now. So, I mean, we've talked about this on a previous pod. We talked about it, all off season. After the season ended last year, is Kyle Busch going to be on the move? I think at this point it's inevitable. I think at the end of this year, especially if he doesn't win a race,
Mm-hmm.
we're not going to see him in RCR probably or a Chevrolet next year.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that one works out. Because you sit there and try to think, like, where would he go? And I know he floated around 2311 some. I think people just naturally think he's back to Toyota, but I'm like, would he? Would they open the doors to Kyle? I don't know. It'd be interesting. That's one thing to watch for sure. Speaking of Kyle Busch, tonight, and when I was trying to look that up before we started recording, Kyle Busch and his son Brexton were racing sprint cars. I thought that was pretty cool. Kind of gives you some Ken Griffey Sr., Ken Griffey Jr. vibes. You keep up with Brexton at all, Cody?
I haven't a lot, to be honest.
The kid's good. Of course, you got to ask the question: is it funding versus talent? I think it's probably a little, obviously a little bit of both at this age, but the kid's pretty good. So I was hoping to see how that went before we got on here. So I'll be interested to see how that went down tonight. But just thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised, in years to come we don't see Brexton and see Harvick's kid, because Harvick's
Yeah.
kid's pretty into it too.
Boyer's son too. The three of them usually race against each other. For sure. So yeah, it'll be interesting. We'll know we're old when we see them show up at the track to race.
Mm,
Probably how everybody feels now watching Chase Elliott run when
well,
Bill's out there. So, all right, man, let's move it on to the final stage. I think this is where we're going to spend a lot of our time tonight. It is finally race weekend at Martinsville, which unfortunately usually means rain. And right now, looking at the forecast, it's just not looking great for Sunday. It changed since we talked earlier on the phone. It's not looking good. We'll come back to that in a minute, but a packed triple header this weekend. Starting out with the trucks on Friday, which I will be at. Backed into some sweet tickets for that one as well. So shout out to my old place of employment, who is actually the title sponsor for the race. So shout out Boys and Girls Club of Blue Ridge. This is a big moment for them. It's not just Boys and Girls Club of America sponsoring it. It is the local chapter club here in Martinsville, Henry County. That is awesome. I mean, their names can be out there everywhere. Anyone tuning in to watch the race Friday night is going to know about BGCBR here in our hometown. And as a former employee there, loved working there, loved making a difference. So I got to give a shout out to them, but also happy that they hooked me up some sweet tickets for that too. So was planning to go anyways, but now it just turns into something better. Saturday, we get the Xfinity Series. That's when you're rolling into town, man. And I know you and I talk about it a lot. They're probably going to steal the show.
Oh yeah, it's going to be the crown jewel of the weekend. Beating and banging. It's going to be a lot of passing. It's just going to be good short track racing. Under
With
the
the
lights
best
too.
package in NASCAR.
Yep, and under the lights. I mean, what more can you
Yeah.
ask for?
Yeah, we'll get like the ending of it under the lights there. It starts at what, 5 o'clock, I think?
5 o'clock. So
Yeah. So
if we get that
looking forward to that one.
overcast,
That's
there's
true. They
like
are
some
calling
clouds
for
in the heavens.
clouds. Yeah,
They
very true.
are. So I'm
Very true.
excited for that. It's gonna, and under the lights, and the track's gonna be pretty cool too at night, so at that time. So probably a lot of grip, and not you have to worry about really slipping and sliding in Martinsville anyway. But it's
Yeah.
just gonna mean for more bumper to bumper going into 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and
Should
some
be
people probably
good for
getting.
sure.
Hmm.
So, what to expect from Cup this weekend? I'll start with this because we were talking about the forecast looks not great for Sunday, to the point where I don't know if this would come into a factor on Sunday. I don't know if you look past Sunday. Monday don't look much better either. I wonder if
Nope.
we couldn't
Whole week.
maybe be leaning toward a Tuesday race, honestly, Cody. And if there was a track they could do a Tuesday race at and turn around, it would be Martinsville with the proximity to Charlotte, where everyone's, just about everyone's located. So do you think we could potentially see the wet tire make its debut at Martinsville this week? I think it's something you might could see. They've ran it at other tracks and had some success. The trucks last spring, I was out there when the trucks ran it. Um, I hope not, because I don't know. I just feel like NASCAR hasn't still quite got the feel for when they should run it versus when they shouldn't. But it would be interesting.
Yeah, I think of all places in Martinsville, it definitely would be interesting. I think you have to consider it because looking at the weather, rain, storms Monday, potential for Tuesday, and then Wednesday through Friday, which they wouldn't run that late anyway. But
Yeah.
in case they did, because of being so close proximity, it's storms all back half of the week too. So
Yeah.
if they're going to want to run it, they're going to have to feel like they're going to have to be a little innovative and be like, you know what, let's go ahead and bust these things out.
It could be a later one Sunday. It really could.
I
Just depending
thought
on
about
how that goes. Um, Monday, I'm kind of torn if I want to take off work or not. Got some some bigger meetings I need to do, but yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, Monday doesn't look good. Honestly, you look at Monday. Monday don't look good at all. It's one thing
Monday
when it
looks worse
rains.
than
It
Monday looks
exactly.
worse than Sunday.
Yeah, yeah. Lightning never works for
Yeah.
that. So, but anyway, so what do you expect for Cup this weekend? It was announced they're running the same tire they ran back in November here. There's no options, which I saw an article on X Day, which was extremely misleading. It said they won't run the option tire at Martinsville, and I'm like, no, that's wrong. They are running the option tire. They're not letting them have the option of a hard versus soft. So they're running the softer tire this weekend that we saw in November. You think we'll get good tire wear? We got pretty good tire wear in the fall.
Yeah, I think it's just going to depend on how much rain we get
Mm-hmm.
and how much rubber gets washed off that track and how quick that rubber gets laid down and what the temperature's going to be like. I think that's going to play a big factor into how much wear we really get, to be honest. Um, so, if we could touch those 70s in the afternoon, I think green flag's at 3 o'clock.
The problem
So,
is that sunshine's going away after Friday. So the track's
true.
going to stay pretty cool, which will be
Yeah.
interesting throughout the
Yep.
weekend for sure. Who do you like this weekend, man?
It's hard for me to not pick a Hendrick driver at
He's
Martinsville
been
for some
solid here
reason.
recently. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna go out on a limb because he hasn't been he's been consistent, but he hasn't been great the last week or two. Chase Elliott. I think I would expect to see him up front, be aggressive to try to go ahead and knock this win out of the way. He's probably my pick to win this week.
Yeah, and if you go look historically in the next gen switch, Chase has been pretty good at Martinsville for sure, as have pretty much all the Hendricks cars. Um, It's also hard to bet against JGR, but since the switch to next gen, they haven't been as solid. Christopher Bell got a win in there, but you think before they switched to next gen, JGR owned this track. Hamlin, Truex, Bush before he left. I mean, they owned it. Since they've switched, not so much. It's been Hendrick and Penske have been the two. So I like, you got to think Larson, you got to think um, Chase, as you were saying, even Byron's been good here. You got to think Blaney. You got to think Logano. Logano's been good here. Heck, now that Josh Berry's shown he's got some speed, watch out for this guy too. I say all that to say this: Denny Hamlin's due for a win. He ain't won in Martinsville in a long time. I got to think. I think it's been about 10 years since he's won here, and so I could see it. He's ran well recently, but he hasn't been able to win. He's due. Just like we were saying, Kyle Larson was due. Denny's due. I don't know, man. I don't know. If I had to pick a winner straight up, I'd probably go either Blaney or Logano. But I say watch out for the 11 this weekend.
Yeah, I could get behind that.
Yeah. All right, man. Time to go on our little tangent here, and we'll finish with something fun. But for those of y'all who don't know, I think we touched on it earlier. NASCAR switched to Ticketmaster as their ticket host this past season. Why they did that, I don't know. None of us had any problems with their previous ticket hosting site, but nevertheless, they switched to Ticketmaster, which if you buy tickets to anything, you know that means what, Cody?
Fees.
Fees upon fees. And not only that, they have jacked these prices up, man. I think I mentioned on the last one, we'll use the truck race as an example. The truck race in the fall that just 6 months ago, not even 6 months ago, $25 for an adult ticket, general admission, truck race in the fall. Kids' tickets were free. My wife and I took our kids to their first race in the fall last year for the trucks. We decided we'd do it again in the spring. I called to get those tickets. $13 increase on tickets, which means after you do the math and throw in Ticketmaster's famous fees, $81 for two adults to go to the darn truck race. Don't even throw in the free kids tickets and all that. NASCAR, what are you doing? And then we talk to these ticket reps. I'm like, dude, what's the deal? Is this Ticketmaster? And they give me some stuff like, oh, nah, man, it's just prices are going up and everything. And they, don't give me that. Don't give me that. And then they try to tell me that Martinsville's the cheapest ticket on the circuit. Okay, whatever. And that it's the best race. I know that. I live here. I go to it. Don't give me that. We said this earlier, and I'll let you tell your story later in just a second, but I have never seen an organization shoot themselves in the foot as much as NASCAR does. Why do you do this? I do not get it. I don't get it. And then you call me today. I'll set the scene. We're going to Xfinity race on Saturday. I said, hey, Cody, will you mind looking in about maybe adding in a kid's ticket? I might take my son on Saturday. It's free. Do you mind doing it? You're like, sure, no problem. Pick up where we
So,
left off there.
so finally remembered to call the great ticket office at Martinsville Speedway today. Say it's at Martinsville Speedway, but that thing is probably somewhere wherever Ticketmaster houses their main call center. So,
Mm-hmm.
call this guy. I could tell he's not from Martinsville, of course, by the accent or anywhere. Even my other
Or how
rep
he
that I spoke
pronounced
to.
the town that you live in just an hour up the
Yeah,
road.
yeah. So the previous rep I spoke to, he was from Winston-Salem. So that one, made sense. But
Mm-hmm.
this guy, gave him my account number. He struggled with that to even find my account. So Ticketmaster needs to get some better people in there. But anyway, finally found my name, my address, and like Adam said, it was you're in Rustburg, Virginia, and you're going to you're going to the Xfinity race. I'm like, you could tell this guy's not strictly just for NASCAR. It's
Mm-hmm.
other things for Ticketmaster. And so he was really struggling. So all I asked for was one children's ticket for if it's free under 12 and under, because you can't order it offline anymore. You
Yeah, you
have to
can't get it
call.
online. You have to call. That's
Have to
another
call.
problem.
So you have to call if you want a children's ticket, or you got to go to the track. You got to go to the track. So, well, we hope you can go to the track, because
Yeah.
I'll get to that. So, I asked him, hey, I need to have this added. He puts me on hold for 15 minutes and comes back and says, okay, Mr. St. John, I've got your children's ticket added to your account. But I just want to let you know that it's going to be a $4 service charge to add this to your account. And
Four
I
dollars for
stopped.
being on hold for 15 minutes, man. That's what it was.
And I've already paid $190 for the 5 Xfinity tickets that I ordered 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
So, I proceed to say I have to pay $4 when you guys don't offer a way for me to order it online. So I have to pay a service fee for a free ticket when I've already ordered $190+ worth of tickets, when you don't even give me the available option to order it online to put it in with the fee. So why am I going to pay $4? Can I just go to the track and pick it up to avoid the fee? Well, the guy proceeds to say, well, you can try that. So this man doesn't even know if it's a
He doesn't
viable
even know.
option.
He doesn't know. And that doesn't
So
surprise me in the least.
no. So, needless to say, I told him that I would proceed to go to the track and do it myself, and try to add it myself. But lo and behold, it's for Adam. So Adam lives much closer to Martinsville than me. So he's going to
I
proceed to
will
try to
I
go
will
get his
decide
child's
what I'm
ticket.
gonna do. Yeah, like I have my reasons whether if I'm gonna do it or not. That's separate from this whole thing I won't get into, but yeah. And even then, with the way that Ticketmaster works, it's probably a $4 fee to do it at the darn gate. I might just go up there just to see how it
Prove a point.
works, just to prove a point. You're exactly
And it's
right,
like,
but
it's like for everyone out there, it's like me and Adam spoke earlier today, like he talked about. It's not about the $4.
no,
When
it's
neither one of us will go broke for $4. It's the principle of the thing.
Yep. And it's just ridiculous, man. And we have to go through the hoops you got to go through now. You can't get it online like you used to. Hey, Cody, I remember a couple of years ago when I literally bought them on my phone standing outside the darn racetrack and put it
Mm-hmm.
on there and went in.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no problem getting a kid's ticket or anything like that.
Nope.
Why, for a sport that wants to grow, and for a sport that just 5 short years ago had the most momentum out of any professional sport there was, why do you consistently do your best to turn fans away, especially future generations, especially families who want to take kids? Man, $81 to take your family to the dang truck race, man. That's ridiculous, dude. Give me a break. And I know that, and there's adults who are going to pay $81 for a couple to go to a race. If you and your wife are coming and not bringing your kids, that's what you'd pay for it. That's insanity, man. Look, I love the trucks. They probably should get a little bit more, but come on, that's insanity. We went through
And
this
like,
whole, as I told you earlier, we went through this whole mini recession over the last 4 years, and I know we're not out of it as an economy yet, but we're going to wait till 2025 after all the crap we've been through in the last 4 years, and we're going to jack the price up now. Come on, NASCAR, give me a break, man.
just shout out to the idea that I pitched to you last week, not on the podcast, but for everybody out there, if you're wanting to go for the full weekend, or if you're not even wanting to go for the full weekend,
Get
go ahead
season
and
tickets.
get the season tickets, get the weekend
Yep.
pass, because it's going to save you a boatload of money if you get your 2 or 1 ticket for the cup race and get your general admission for the Xfinity and the truck race.
Yep.
Because even still, if you don't go to the truck race or the Xfinity race, it's still going to save you money.
100%.
So do that
100%.
if you're out there looking for tickets for the Martinsville race in the fall. That's what we're going to do.
It burns me up, man. It burns me up, and I've been fortunate to know people here at the Speedway and would love to talk to them about it, but there's no point. They don't make the decision on it. This was 100% NASCAR front office decision, and as we said on the phone earlier, someone in there who sits at a desk in Charlotte who never has had to pay for a sporting ticket before made this decision. Ticketmaster sucks. And on top of Ticketmaster, we talked about it earlier on the phone, but not on here. You tried to order a Justin Allgaier t-shirt back after the first race of the Daytona 500. And you ran into issues because NASCAR decided to partner with, lo and behold, the worst apparel thing there is out there.
Fanatics.
It's terrible, man. And we'll go to the track this week, and I'll go Friday and be able to go to the haulers and get 10 times better things than what they even sell on Fanatics. I saw a 2311 hoodie hanging up at the Daytona 500 on their truck. I go online to try to find it. Nowhere to be found. I bet you I'll find it this weekend, though.
Yep.
What do you do for the fans who don't live near a track and can't go but still love the sport? I'm telling you, dude, it's so backwards. It's so backwards, man. It's so backwards. It's cutting corners, trying to save money like they've been trying to do with everything here recently, but yet the team's profit margin is exactly the same as it was a few years ago.
Yep.
Whatever. All right, man. Let's move it on. We keep doing this forever and a day, I feel like. But all right, here's the fun. For those of you who have never been to Martinsville race, Martinsville's famous for their hot dogs, and so we're setting the over under at 12 for the full weekend. 12 hot dogs. Now for you, that's 2 races. For me, that's we'll say 2. I don't know if they'll put the dogs up in the Sweet Friday night or not, but
they
are
will.
Are you going over or are you going under? I'll let you go first.
Well, I think we made the comment earlier, if NASCAR's jacking up their prices, or the dog prices,
the concession prices too for these
So,
Jesse Jones hot dogs. Which I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off, but as someone who lives here, basically any convenience store around Martinsville and Henry County, you can go buy the same hot dog they serve at the track, and it's even cheaper at the track. So it's $2 at the track. At least that's what it's been traditionally. You go to a store right down the road from the track, it's like $1.15 or something like that. Prices have gone up a lot lately, but I'm telling you right now, if them hot dogs are more than $2, I ain't getting one because forget it. I can go right down the road to the old Bill Lemon's store and get one a lot cheaper.
I told you earlier. I said, if I can't get my bag of 6 for $10 or $12, I said, I ain't buying them. I said that'll play into my over or under.
Yep.
So
let's
right
just
now,
say the price stays the same.
Let's say it stayed the same.
You going over 12 or under?
I got to get my bag of 6 for each day, so that's 12.
So you're right on the line.
My wife will probably find a way not to eat one, and I'll probably get to that magic number 13. And baby, we're gonna go over 12 hot dogs for the 2 races. So
if you would have asked me last week, if we would have had the same question last week, I probably would have took the over. My stomach this week, man. I don't know. It must know race weekend's coming. It's just like it's not cooperating. So I think I'm going to take the under, just for the simple fact that I don't want those Sunday night race pains to be hitting me like they did back in the fall. I think I texted you Sunday at like 9 o'clock, and I was like, "Why did I eat so many hot dogs?" So I'm going to take the under, but it's easy to say that. Once those cold drinks hit your lips, those hot dogs start sounding really good. So it could change to over really quick for sure.
Oh yeah. I tell you what, if you tell me on Friday night that them prices have changed, don't be surprised to see Cody roll up to the race in that backpack cooler with some Jesse Jones in the bag, baby.
Stopped at People's down there and grabbed some just to take them
You
in
ain't
there.
kidding. You ain't
Hey,
kidding. Shout out Peoples, baby. Shout
that's
out
right,
Peoples.
man. That's right. For sure. You got to do what you got to do. I don't blame you one bit. Heck, I'll be coming. I don't live in the neighborhood behind it like I used to, but I'll be making a pit stop over there on the way. So if it is like that, I might have to do the same thing. Because some traditions you just can't break. You got to have a hot dog at the race, even if that means missing the national anthem and the preacher of your church doing the invocation because you're stuck in the hot dog line. But hey, some traditions you just can't break. Cody, I'm excited, man. Looking forward to it. We got a couple of fun, good weeks coming up. Personally, for the both of us. And by the way, we didn't mean to match the Columbia hat with the Columbia hoodie. If you guys are wondering what's going on there, that's hilarious. But yeah, man, it's going to be a blast. Looking forward to it. I know a few people have reached out saying we need to do our podcast live after the race. Well, first of all, we both have children that we got to get back to who. We're gracious enough to have people watch them for us to go to the race. And second, the way we do our setup. Now tonight we kind of jerry rigged it. We probably could do it this way, but had to switch it up a little bit. So I don't know. We might do some instant reaction videos while we're together, something like that. Maybe do some different social posts or something while we're there. But I also thought about filming just a little YouTube thing throughout the week, just doing like a special YouTube video of race weekend. So we got a few ideas up our sleeve for people asking for sure. So,
Yep.
You excited, man? You ready?
Man, dude, I've been thinking about it all week, for weeks actually. I'm totally, like you said earlier, looked ahead and from Homestead to Martinsville this week. So it's just going to be a really fun next couple of weeks. But man, this week's going to kick it off, and I'm hoping that rain holds off, and
Yeah,
we
fingers
get a
crossed,
couple
man.
races on
Fingers
Sunday.
crossed. Yeah,
So
I
I'm
hope so
excited.
too, because that'll really put a damper on things, but a ching for sure there. So, all right, guys, well, appreciate everybody tuning in tonight or today, whenever you're listening. If you haven't yet, please subscribe, please share. A few people have been sharing it out there. Really appreciate that. Keep getting the word out there, and we appreciate the support. So, Cody, as always, appreciate it, man. And we are signing off for the Stage Racing Podcast.